So I am Professor Juhann Waller, professor at North Carolina A&T State University, and I will be giving a presentation on why graduate school. And I think as you have heard today, there's a lot of synergy between all of the presentations as to, again, why you should attend graduate school and obtain higher education. A little bit about my background. Again, I'm an adjunct professor at North Carolina A&T State University, in addition to being a business owner of a civil engineering and surveying firm in Greensboro. And on top of all of that, I'm also in a professional doctorate program at North Carolina State University as well. So graduate degrees can be obtained and can happen. So kind of outline of my presentation, we'll I introduce myself, we'll talk about our learning objectives, outcome, and then we'll talk and dig into a little bit more about the benefits of going to graduate school, and then we'll have a small conclusion, then we'll open it up for discussions. So the learning objectives is to learn about the reasons why pursuing an advanced degree, considerations that you should give to the graduate application process, and then completing the graduate application process, and then gaining admission into a graduate program. So the outcomes for this presentation is to make sure that you're knowledgeable about why going to grad school and why it's important, about preparing for graduate school, and information about the benefits of attending and investing in graduate studies and your potential career paths. So what we want to do, since we have a small group, we can just talk it out, generate a list of things that you currently know about graduate school. We can go one at a time. And I see, I'm gonna go with who I see on my screen first. So I see Miss Wayne.
What I know about grad school is that it deals more with research and it's specific in the thing you actually want to do.
Okay. Miss Monday.
Well, I learned that you can go for free, completely free.
Okay, that's it.
Yes, I mean, well, no, not yes, but I didn't want to take 2 or 3. Everybody else gotta go.
So you cheated already. So you took something you didn't already learn. This was before.
Okay, well, well, okay, yeah, okay.
Miss Mays.
So something that I already knew before this session was that from your graduate school, you can earn your master's, and it's a more specific concentration of your undergrad usually, or you can go a complete different route. Like if you got engineering in undergrad, you could do business in graduate. And something, are we supposed to be saying something we already knew and something we learned, or either or?
Either or.
Okay.
Miss Chaka, did I say that right?
Chica,
I'm sorry. I am horrible with names.
Well, I think one thing that I guess I learned about grad school is that you can get your Master's of Science, which is thesis based, or you can get your Master's of Engineering, which you're dealing more so with project, and that comes with a heavier course load. I did not know that.
Okay. Miss Veronica.
Something that I kind of knew about grad school was that it's a way to like specialize in like something that has to do with your field. And like at my school, it's kind of cool. You can begin doing like master's classes as a undergrad, so you can get a step ahead. So that's kind of what I know about it so far.
All right. Mr. Jordan.
I learned that grad school is just a way for you to really focus on your major or minor and get a better understanding so that you can really dive in when you start your career.
Okay, good. So going to graduate school encompasses all of the things that you just mentioned. So good deal. So you have a good grasp already as to graduate school, and hopefully throughout this presentation we can bring out some additional gems that you didn't quite know about. So from my perspective, why graduate school? Again, it provides specialized knowledge and training in your chosen field of study. So you get to take a deeper dive. And you don't necessarily need to go in your specialized field of study. You can also migrate to a different field of study. For example, some people go to graduate school to get an MBA, which is a Master's in Business Administration. So you don't necessarily need to stick with what you did your undergraduate degree in. It also provides, again, more in-depth knowledge of subjects that you did take in your chosen field of study, so that you can be recognized as a leader and expert in that particular field. It also is a way for you to engage in research and other intellectual avenues to advocate as well as distribute your scholarly work in that field. So there's ways of distributing stuff through publications, conference presentations, poster sessions, etc. Again, to engage with the scholarly body as well as peers. And then graduate school also requires a personal commitment, both time and also financial, but hopefully you're not spending your money. You're spending somebody else's money, because graduate school is supposed to be free. So why pursue an advanced degree? You want to do it for both personal growth. It can be one of your aspirations and career goals that you could have had since growing up. It also, as the previous presentation said, you got greater employment flexibility and opportunities, greater opportunities for advancement and self-accomplishment. With an advanced degree, you also get recognition, additional recognition and credibility. And some field of studies require a advanced degree as just the barrier of entering into that particular field. And then, of course, you get a financial reward with higher starting salaries by having an advanced degree. Any questions? So let's look at the economic trend. So as we are moving more to a gig economy than we have been in traditional industrial economy, the economic trends show that the U.S. is becoming extremely dependent on higher educated and skilled workforce. Between 2009 and 2029, approximately 2.5 million jobs will require at least a master's or a doctoral or advanced degree in order to get into that particular field. So again, more and more jobs are requiring advanced degrees because the problems that we're facing as a society are getting more and more complex, and your undergraduate degree, again, is just the bare minimum to get into most markets. So as you can see, here's an example. An occupation as a lawyer, it requires a doctoral or professional degree, and they don't provide a lot of on-the-job training, and your annual wages is around $122,000 a year. Of course, your healthcare specialties, a lot of those require some type of advanced degree. And you can see that those starting salaries, and these are annual averages. That was about 97,000. You know, this, you have educational coordinators. They need at least a master's degree to get into that particular field. Speech pathologists, they need at least a master's degree to get into that particular field. So as you looking at this list, you can see that, again, the undergraduate degree is no longer the bare minimum to get into some of the fields, depending upon what you want to do. Now let's look at the financial reward. So in pursuing a higher education degree, as alluded to by the previous presenter, your salary is a lot higher. So doctoral, they own about 1,800 a week, whereas a bachelor is 1,200 a week. So there's a substantial increase between those two. And then if you get a master's degree, it's 1,400 a week. So again, average that over your entire working career of, would say 40 years, that becomes a substantial amount of money. In addition to the ones that we pointed out earlier, there are some other careers that require advanced degrees, again, as entry into the market that you may not associate with needing one. So you have librarians, rehab counselors, archivists, historians, occupational therapists, just to name a few, that again, to get into that particular field, they require some type of advanced degree. Are any of these kind of eye-opening to you about what area of specialty requires advanced degrees?
Well, I am also a math major, so it's pretty cool seeing that, you know, for math, you do need an advanced degree as well. So, yeah.
So now let's do a little bit of soul searching. So what we want to do is, so we already talked about what you know about grad school. And so let's look at a couple of reasons of why you should not attend grad school. I'll give y'all a few minutes to think about it. Are y'all ready? I'm gonna start with Miss Maya first, because I missed her on the other one unintentionally. I didn't see her on my screen.
You called me on the last one.
I did. Okay.
Yeah, you did. You did.
Don't remember.
But a reason why you would not is, I guess, having a family or a child.
So you think that's a barrier? Okay. Family. Miss Wayne.
For me, I think a reason you might not go to grad school is if you have everything you need, a stable job, house, family, everything, and you don't see the reason for going to grad school, you might not go to grad school.
So you have everything you need. You're content. I think that's a good word for it. Miss Monday.
I would say like life situations, because life does happen that could either, you know, stop you from going or postpone your plans to going at the moment.
Life happens. I like that one. Miss Veronica.
Time management skills might be a reason why you would not be able to go.
Can you elaborate a little bit more on that?
So like if you don't have like, if you get stressed out easily, and like if you had to get a job or something at the same time and you don't have the skills, or if you get overwhelmed by it, it might keep you from doing like a master's in science, where you have to give a lot of time to like helping out the professor, like doing research on the side.
Okay. Miss Chica.
You good.
Chica.
You good.
Chica. I wrote myself a note.
So they've really said all the good ones, but a reason for not attending graduate school, I would definitely say discouragement from family and from yourself as well. Just thinking maybe because if you're not doing particularly good in a field that you want to study, that you wouldn't be good enough to go to graduate school. So,
Okay. So the naysayers, haters.
Yes. And you can be a naysayer for yourself too. I just want y'all to know that.
Don't think I belong, not good enough. Okay. So all of those are they're good reasons. You gave good reasons, but they're really not good reasons not to go to graduate school. So we can overcome just about everything that you said, because all of the items you gave are correct. So reasons to pursue advanced degrees, again, increase your earning potential, professional growth and development, advancement in your career, and again, gaining knowledge about your additional knowledge in your chosen field of study. So once you have decided and that you would going to pursue graduate degree, what is next in the process? So I always like to say you can't be successful at a particular sport or game unless you know the rules of engagement. So we want to figure out what the rules are engagement that will increase our chances of success. So first you want to do is research the ratings and reputation of graduate schools and programs, and that includes the faculty as well. What you want to do is look at the requirements for admission for that particular university, and as well as the graduate program, because they may have two different requirements, or the department may have additional requirements that you need to meet to be a part of that degree program. You also want to look at what type of research is being conducted by the professors at that chosen university. Not all universities are looked at equally, because there are three different, on the master's level, three different tracks or paths that you can take in order to get an advanced degree. You could do the all coursework option, which is one. The second option would be the project option, and then the third would be the thesis or research option. So depending upon which option you're leaning towards may have some bearing on what type of university you go to. So if you take the course option, again, you want to make sure that you choose a university that one has courses that you would be interested in and that you want to take. And then you need to also make sure that they are currently offering those courses, so that you don't go there thinking, okay, I'm going to take these courses that really interest me, and then come to find out after you get accepted in the program, they only teach those courses on a given cycle. The project option is a mix of coursework along with a project that you will do. So again, looking at what community engagement activities that the professors at that university is engaged in will help you with the project option, because a lot of projects come about through the professors' community engagement. So they may have a nonprofit that may come to them and say, hey, I have this problem, can you help us solve it? And so there's research opportunities through that. And then the last option, which everybody's probably most familiar with, is the thesis option, which goes onto the high research intensive universities. And so, you know, using like the GEM fellowship and other fellowships that you get, which is research based. So all universities will have a few courses that you would have to take, that all graduate students have to take. But then after that, your courses that you take will be reflective of the type of research that you will be doing. Is how the thesis option works. And then at the end of your thesis, you would give a presentation on your research findings. You also want to look at the student services available at the school to make sure that they fit your life balance needs. You know, make sure they have activities and things that you like to participate in. And then the most important question is find out what type of financial support can be expected once you are admitted into that graduate program. And again, how long does that financial commitment work? The financial commitment can come in many different forms, as was discussed by the previous presenter. Graduate research assistantships, teaching opportunities, etc. You also want to look at how much educational debt graduates leave with. Again, in our case, again, graduate school is supposed to be free, so they shouldn't be leaving with any debt, but you want to talk to former students, and also university should keep information on how much educational debt average graduates leave with. And then you also want to look at how many students are in that program of study. Is it a large program, a small program? Again, because everybody has different learning styles. So you want to find a program that best suits you. And then you also want to find out how many years does it typically take for a student to complete their graduate studies. Is this a quick program where most people finish their program of studies within a couple of years, or does it take them a while to complete their graduate studies? And that will vary because some graduate programs are geared towards part-time studies, which will take you a lot longer to complete. And then you have other programs that are more geared towards full-time students. So that matters too. So you want to probably look at that. And then the location and the associated cost of living of the university. So if you don't like cold weather, again, I don't think you would likely look at a program in upstate New York unless, again, it's one of the top notch in the country and it is a program that really excites you, because you're going to be there for a couple of years. So you need to be comfortable. And then also you need to look at where graduates are employed, where they're working at. And then the most important is, what is the university and program expectation of graduate students? Are you expected to be a research assistant? Are you expected to be a teaching assistant? Again, what are the basic requirements that you will have to do to meet the university's program expectations, as well as meet your expectations? Any questions?
Yes, Professor Waller, I got a quick question.
Okay.
So I know when you said that you had to take the courses, well, each path you have to take a set amount of courses. Now, if you decide to switch over, like say I wanted to do a project, could I switch over after like all of the required courses are done to go to a thesis, or can I switch over to do all coursework? Like, is that interchangeable?
So that is interchangeable. To make that switch happen, typically you have to have a discussion with your advisor and you guys figure out the best path forward. The reason why I'm a little hesitant is because depending upon the funding mechanisms, it's all tied back to funding. When you do thesis option, the way your tuition and how you get your stipend and your money, you're being paid to work on a research project. And so there are certain outcomes that the funders expect to happen. So when you go from a thesis option, all of a sudden you want to go to a project option, there may be some complications there, but nothing that can't be overcome. I just think it's discussions that need to happen. It's just not an overnight decision and all of a sudden you're doing the project option. Mm-hmm. But yes, that happens because you have some people that go into a master's program and they say, I'm going to do the thesis option, and life happens. And so they're like, okay, I can't, I need to go part-time. I can't be a research assistant because I need to go work. So it's best for me in my life situation. Can I either do a project option or a all coursework option? Some universities now offer the 4+1, with the 4 being the 4 years you spend for your undergraduate. So at the end of 4 years, you'll get your BS degree. And then if you stay one additional year and do all coursework, you can get your master's degree. The all coursework option. So I mean, that if your university offers that is a option as well. And I like to also say, I think a misconception is that if you go to graduate school, you have to do the thesis option. You do have those other two options. And even if you do all coursework and or the project option, that does not preclude you from doing a doctoral program. The thesis option just better prepares you for that because of the research-based component. The project is, the second closest. And then of course you have all coursework. So if you decide to go to a doctoral program, you'll probably have a little bit of a learning curve coming from an all coursework option, but nothing that you can't overcome. Any other questions? All right. So the other thing in preparing for the graduate school selection process is to participate in graduate preparation conferences like this one, and also do campus visits. I think as Dr. Rowlett mentioned earlier, that campuses and departments have funding available for you to do some of these campus visits. So that's something you want to look into. And then you want to become familiar with the deadline timetables for submitting your application. Make sure that you have time to adequately prepare your purpose statement. If you need to take the GRE, and make sure all of your transcripts and GPA is in order. Again, if you know the rules of engagement early on and you start identifying the graduate schools that you would like to attend, and if for some reason your GPA is not where you would like it to be, you can also take additional courses to help boost your GPA, so that will help with the success of you getting into that particular program. And the same thing with the GRE scores. You can take GRE prep classes, and if for some reason you're not doing GRE, you need to do the other ones to get in law or medical school. Again, knowing what those requirements are up front will be very useful to you. And then make sure your resume and work experience are up to date. And then for most graduate applications, you will need letters of recommendation. So talking to your faculty at your school and getting those recommendation letters again early will only help and take some of the stress of applying to graduate school for you guys. And then we've already talked about the GPA requirements. Any questions? And then you also need to fully understand the admission process. Most graduate programs have a two-step admission process. The first step being you have to somewhat be accepted by the university, and then the graduate department that you are applying to would have to accept you as well. And on the graduate committee of the departments is mostly comprised of the professors within that individual department. So again, reaching out early, doing the campus visits, and looking to see what research they're doing will only aid in the success of your application, because they'll become hopefully familiar with your name and recognize it when it comes across their desk. And then it also, by knowing these rules, it also allows you to prepare a competitive application. And then I think one thing that sometimes we fail to do is to follow up and be proactive once we submit a application for admission. So kind of as a recap, attending graduate school offers tangible and intangible opportunities. Those opportunities being tangible, of course, more money, but then you get to be recognized as a leader in your particular field or having additional knowledge. You get to understand factors prior to starting your application will only aid in your success. And then being proactive about the investment you're about to make by going to graduate school. And that concludes my presentation. This is my contact information. Any questions about anything?
I just kind of have a quick question as well. I know it might be different for every school, but if you are going into a graduate program that is in the school that you already attend for undergrad, all those steps, most of those steps necessary, or can you just talk to the department and then go straight into that program?
It really depends on how the program is set up. I know some, at least at A&T, with the 4+1 program, the application process is a little bit easier. You still have to apply to graduate school. I know at A&T, at least, if you come from an ABET accredited university, you don't have to take the GRE.
Okay. Yeah.
So there are different, advantages, and sometimes, again, they make the application process a little bit easier. And as I did in the other session, made a point to point out I'm also a business owner as well, so we can talk about just about anything.
Yeah, can you kind of go into go more in depth into what your business is? Because I know you said just go more in depth.
Okay. So we are a civil engineering design and surveying firm. So we design everything on the outside of the building, anything in the built environment. So we do roads, parking lots, commercial development, residential, higher education, schools, you name it, we've done it. Sports arenas. And so we design everything on the outside of the building.
So when did you create your own business, your own company?
I started the first company I had back in 2010. So about 11 years ago.
And then you created a second?
Then I created a second one back in 2013.
And do the two like relate? Do they coincide, or are they like completely different?
Well, they're in the same vein. So I had another civil engineering firm that I started in 2010. And then I left that firm and started this other firm. So basically, I started two civil engineering firms because the other firm is still in existence. So I started that firm, left that in 2013, and then started this other firm that I'm currently at in 2013, basically.
Is your goal to grow your firm? And if so, what are you doing to do that? And how big, or what is your vision for the firm, and how big do you want it to get?
So my vision for the firm is to grow. We're currently 15 people. We have 2 offices. We want to grow to, maybe 50 to 100 people and practice in multiple states. And so, again, my passion is, teaching. And so we take a different approach and philosophy. I take the time to actually mentor my staff. And so, again, the way we're set up, we are not set up like a traditional civil engineering firm in some respects. I would say it's probably more somewhat like a graduate research lab. I mean, we work on true projects, but again, there's opportunities for learning. So I really take the time to make sure they understand, what they're doing, versus sometimes you get industry, it's like, just go do this, but you don't really understand why you're doing what you're doing. So, bringing in that educational aspect is what I kind of like focus on to some degree.